Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for tuning in. I'm Pam Fort, and we are having a breast cancer slash diabetes awareness walk. It's one event, two causes. Last year, we actually had uh, a cancer photo shoot, which was wonderful. This year, we thought it would be we would be a little bit more proactive, and we would actually do a walk to encompass two causes. And so, with that being said, we figured that's why we would do the walk because people were asking, well, why do you walk? What's the purpose of the walk? And I just want to share this with you. The reason that people walk, you know, regarding these diseases is to celebrate and honor breast cancer survivors, thrivers, caregivers, educate the public about prevention and detection, and to reduce the risk of the disease. That's why we're doing it. We are doing it to save our communities, to save our people. That's why we're doing the walk. Now, I purposely didn't have, anything pertaining to raising funds for the walk. I wanted people to just come as they are. We didn't have anybody sign up. I just wanted you to just come out. It takes 20 minutes to walk 1 mile. We have it mapped out. So, in addition to that, what I also wanted to do was some education. So, I wanted to talk to people in our own community that we live around that has gone through some of these diseases with families and friends and tell you what they feel is actually, missing, in our communities or some of the things that we need to make perhaps change. So today with me, I have Don Mayberry, and Don is going to share with you um, his grandmother. He's going to share with you the life of his grandmother and the type of cancer she had if he chooses, and some of the actual talking points that he feels that's relevant for our community. So Don, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Grace and peace, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. I am
Yes.
excited. As Ms. Pam has said, we are talking about cancer, the journey, the walk, and also the sacred conversations in the unknown secret conversations of
Yes.
cancer. And so I want to talk about my grandmother. Barbara Hood, loved people beyond their faults. She just loved everybody, no matter their situation, no matter their condition, she loved them beyond that. And another thing, my grandmother had faith like none other. She had faith even until the end. I remember my grandmother had a conversation with me. She said, I'm all prepared and I'm ready to go. And she said, there are a few things that I want you to handle because I'm ready. Whatever God's decide, I am ready. And I said there on that Sunday, and I was sitting next to my grandmother. I said, now this I am okay with it because I'm ready. And so that was a conversation that most family would try to ignore and not talk about. But in that moment, that was a moment of preparation and a moment of unity to understand the situation, whatever I know what's happening, but I am okay with whatever situation, whatever route, whatever change in scenery that God's decide, I am going to be okay. And so I thought about that and I said, wow, I said, my grandma battled this thing for 3 years and she never once complained. And even when she had a headache, I remember I went in the room and I put blessed oil on my hands and I rubbed my grandmother's head. I just rubbed it. Of course, her hair was gone because of the cancer and the chemotherapy, but that's all right. I just rubbed it and I said, you know what? I said, this headache got to go. And about 5 minutes later, my grandmother's headache went away. And I said, wow. And I kept thinking about the life of my grandmother and the fashionista she was on top of having faith and loving people beyond recognition. My grandmother loved fashion. If you knew Barbara J. Hood, you knew she loved fashion from the coats all the way down to the shoes. Everything was coordinated. And I just love my grandmother, even the life that she left something for everyone to take, not just the family, but the friends, and to everyone who knows us and who are
Mm.
friends or associates of her and our family. And one thing that I want to say is love like Barb. That is one of the things, the hashtags that I've been using since my grandmother passed away, was love like Barb. She can look at a person that she didn't take any foolishness, she did not partake in drama, but she will love you beyond your faults, beyond your recognitions and your problems. I used to be like, now me being a grandson, now you guys know we gonna keep it 100. When you see certain things or hear certain things regarding your relatives, it's, you know what? Let me go ahead and put these locks up in a ponytail, and you just gonna have to see me. That's 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 how it was. But it was just the love that she had for people, her faith, and even her fashion. If you know me, you know that I love fashion as well. So
Yeah.
that is one of the things. So that's something about my grandmother. It's just the faith and the love that she had for people.
Wow. The what is the one thing that what is the one memory that you'll take away, that you'll always remember, that she actually gave you, that you'll remember? It's a memory.
It was actually, if you guys, I've been in nursing for a very long time, and even when my schedule switched, while I'm working on becoming a nurse practitioner, it was, she had a conversation with me. She said, "I know you're busy, and I know that you're not going to be around because of your study time, but," she says, "you don't stop." And she whispered that to me while she was sick. She said, "You don't stop. I don't care what comes, what happened." She said, "You go all the way." And I was talking
Mm,
to her, and she said, "Well, what is your goal?" And I said, "Well, honestly," I was like, "I want my DNP, which is Doctor of Nursing Practice." And she said, "Okay." She said, "Well, then that means don't stop after the master's." And I said, "I won't. I will keep on going." That many don't know is that my grandmother Mary Hood went to school to be an MD, and she never sat to take, which is Barb's mom. She never sat and took her boards because she took care of her mom. Here we go talking about
mm,
love and family again. She never, and grow. I
mm,
mean, my grandmother Mary Hood, my great grandmother Mary Hood, which is Barb's mom, knew anything about the body. And I used to be young, and I used to listen to her and say, "Oh, that's because of this because of that." And I'm looking at her like, "You just understand the body like so well." And so that's where my love and passion came from. And then after my great grandmother died, my grandmother Barb just pushed me all the way. She was like, "You go. I don't care what's going on." And even when I had two surgeries myself, I had a sinus surgery, and that kind of took me. I was down for a while, and I gained so much weight off of prednisone. And my grandma called me one day. She said, "Now I'm cooking some chicken." You guys should see how fast I got off that couch to go to my grandmother's house, my grandma, to get some chicken. And that was just her encouragement and the love that she had, for
mm,
not just us, but for her friends and herself. There was nothing that you can say to belittle my grandmother. She loved herself that much, and she knew who God made her to be. And that's something, the
mm,
conversations that we had, that just literally stick and replay. And even now, I kind of want to testify about this. I took two tests after my grandmother passed away. My professors was like, "What are you doing here?" They're like, "Why are you here? Like, your girl." I'm like, "You know what? I left the funeral home. I finished everything that I had. So I decided to go to school and take the test and leave." And so I was kind of like, I prayed on the way there, and I was just like, "Okay, you know what, Don, you got this. You got to encourage yourself." And that was something my grandmother did. And so I passed those two tests that, like, with flying colors, and my classmates was like, "I don't understand it. You're going through grief. Your grandmother just died, and you come in here and ace the test and then walk out." And I'm just like, you know what? That's something my grandma would do. Show up and show out. And that's something I was
mm.
like, that's what she was. So that's something that
Wow.
sticks with me.
That's wonderful. And I mean, that's something to stick with. That's something to stick with. You've always been very bright, always been very forthcoming with people and things. And I think you would be a great nurse, an absolute great nurse. Now, Don, when we were talking, when we think about our own community, particularly because it's just not women with breast cancer, it's men as well.
Mhm.
Now that you're working in the profession, um, what do you think that our community needs to hear the most about? And I'm asking you that because you were up close and personal with your grandmother with it, and then you also see it every day in the field that you're currently working in. So what would you like for people to know?
I would like for people to know, to not do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. A lot of times what I see daily is that we are scared to go to the doctor. We are,
Mhm.
if there is a certain pain and we feel it, we are like, you know what, I'm not going to go because of the big C. It's so like prominent now that people don't even talk about cancer. They call it the big C because they're
Mhm.
so afraid of it. And honestly, it puts our family and our friends in a place because a lot of times the person may know, the patient may know, and don't tell their family members, and no one is prepared to handle this. And so I really want us to understand that we should not be afraid. Do not be afraid to go to the doctor. Do not be afraid to get your mammograms. Do not be afraid to get your blood work. The blood work tells everything, anything that's going on in your body. The blood work tell it. That's why we have WBC, which is white blood counts. That's something that we look for as far as infections or things like that. And that normal range of that should be between 5,000 and 10,000. And we have red blood cells is something that we also look for in blood work, which that we know that the normal range is 4.5 between 6 and 6. That's something that we know. And there's also other lab tests that we can go. There's x-rays, CT scans. A lot of times you see with women, there's a mammogram, and we can do CAT scans and things like that that also show any form of cancer. And so do not be afraid. This is the conversation that we need. Go get checked up. I cannot express it enough
Absolutely.
because the fear has stifled our community and stifled us as human beings to go to the doctor. I don't want to know. I don't want. I hear that all the time. I don't want to know. I'll feel better if I don't know. And the thing
Mhm.
is, you need to know because even though there may be a diagnosis, that does not mean that it is your end. You have
Mm.
opportunities and resources to get help, and even there's a simple thing that can change cancer, and that is your diet. I did research recently looking at different things, and I noticed how USA compared to other countries, even compared to Canada, the additives and the artificial flavorings in food is little to none there. And here in the USA, it's full of additives and so much things that it's just like, is this even like, is this humane to eat? Like it's because there's so much going on. So do not be afraid. Set your appointment. We come to talk to you tonight to set your appointment. Go get your mammogram. And you
Mhm.
also stay on top of your test. If you are taking blood thinners, that means that you should be in constant communication with your doctor in the labs so your blood work can be tested and we can see your coumadin levels or different things like that. What is your platelet level? Are you able to heal correctly? And this is things that we need to know and talk about. Is fear. Do not be afraid. And if I take it a step further, for God says that He has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. The sound mind comes with wisdom, as such as going to the doctor. That's a sound mind, following up with your appointments, taking the prescribed medication when you should take it. And so this is why I love having this conversation because we get to settle the fears of people's stories and help them and strengthen their voice to tell their
Mhm.
story. And so we're breaking the stigma and we're breaking fear that that's something that's going to be, I'm going to speak it into existence that will be no longer from this day forth by us
Mhm.
talking and having this conversation. It's do not be afraid. That is something that I wanted to encourage everybody. And I have faith. Pam has faith. We all have, but wisdom comes with going to the doctor. And yes, I am a
Truth.
firm believer that
Mm.
God heals, but we cannot say that we serve God and not even follow His commandments that He has given us. Because and this is the argument that I had with someone 2 weeks ago. Well, Don, I just don't believe. And I said, you believe in putting your money in the bank, right? I do. You believe in putting gas in your car, right? I do. I said, so why don't you believe the doctor? If Jesus, even in the Bible and the disciples, there were doctors, there were physicians, and Jesus was the greatest physician himself. And people came from miles around to see the greatest physician. So why can't you go across the street from your condo to Silver Cross and see your doctor? And so it
Mm.
just it
Mm.
break the stigma of fear and stop making excuses. We need to know we have tests, we have
Absolutely.
resources. And this is why I'm excited about this walk. So many times you have walks that are asking for money and so much things, and you get there, it's like, where's the resources? What's going on?
Mhm.
But this is to walk and come in unity, peace, and love.
Absolutely.
We need answers. And that's why the Bible says that seeking you shall find. You won't know unless you go to the doctor. You won't know unless you open up your mouth. Both of my grandmothers said, if closed mouth don't get fed. And so in order to know, you must open up your mouth. So that's what, let's break the stigma of fear of healthcare, especially for our people.
Man. And the church said amen. Church said amen. And just one last thing, you know, what I want to know, and I know with people, how important is having support around you? When you get a diagnosis. I mean, like with your grandmother getting a diagnosis, how important is it to have that support system, you know, um, around you? How was that?
It was very important. Of course, I am in school full time, so I would spend mornings and weekends in the hospital with my grandmother, and
Mm,
all those before she got to progress, where she was, sleep because of the strong medication. I would sit there for hours, and I would just
mm,
say, my aunt would text me. We were all together. My mom would text me with questions like, "Okay, now, son, they saying this. What does this mean? This test came back. What does this mean?" And I'll be in class texting my mom like, "No, mom, that's not the test that we need. Tell the doctor this." And so it's so important to have the support, because I want to tell everyone, no matter where you are in healthcare, you have rights. You have rights at a
mm,
primary care, you have rights in an immediate care or quick. You have rights, and you have the right to deny. But here's the thing: if you're going to deny, have a second opinion. That means that after you leave that doctor, you go get further testing and get a second opinion, so you know how to make the best move. And so it was so important. And I'm going to tell you how else is important. A part of nursing is we make a nursing diagnosis. And there's part of the process of when we do a nursing diagnosis is we are planning for the discharge of a patient. In order for a successful discharge, it is known in nursing history and medical history, in order for a person to fully recover, they need family support. They need social support. That's how important it is to have support, because it's a part of your discharge summary, whether you know it or not. The doctors are saying that if this person does not have a supportive family or a supportive group, they will decline. But and it's important to have social support, family support, love support, because that is a part of the discharge process. And I'm going to take it a step further. There's an earthly discharge, and then there's a heavenly discharge, where my grandmother went. The God says, "You know what, Barbara, you fought enough, but I'm going to discharge you from earth, and I'm going to bring you up to heaven." And there are
mm,
those who discharge on earth and go home to love and support, which is also a part of a coping mechanism. Those who have good support are able to have good coping and critical thinking skills. That is a part
mm,
of life. In order to be healthy, you need support. You need family. There was a song years ago that said self-made, and I couldn't stand it. I was like, what? That makes no sense to me. Everybody needs somebody. And that's why the songwriter said, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make
yes.
this world a better place. And so this is why you need somebody. It's a part of the healing process. And if you
Mm,
want to be healed, you need support. If you want to be lifted, you need support. If you want to go on and see what the end is going to be, you need support. As healthcare professionals that we are, we understand that if we see no family come, we understand that we're going to have to push you to be better, because you need support. And that's something in healthcare that it's called minimum encouragement. That means that we're going to say some words to you to encourage you, to lift up your legs if you're having pain, to stretch so you can maintain your level of range of motion, and you can participate in ADLs, which is also activities of daily living. You need
mm,
that. One thing of your activities of daily living is support. You need your family, and it will either make or break you. A lot of times, cancer tears families to shreds. Diabetes tears families to shreds. There are they you like what happened? Everybody is going a separate way. But one thing I want to encourage you all is to stay unified. You need
mm,
somebody in order to make it through. Yes, you're going to cry. Yes, it's going to hurt. And yes, it's going to take time, but you need somebody. And come out of that depression and loneliness stage and withdrawing yourself, thinking everything is going to be okay. No, you need sunlight. You need to go to the movies. You need to go and walk on the track. You need a friend. I used to love
mm.
watching TV shows and game shows. It says, what do you want to do? There's an option. And the option that I used to always love was call a friend. And I said, Lord, call a friend. I called my sister the day of my grandmother passed. I said, I just need you to stay on the phone with me. I said, I don't need you to encourage me. I just need you to stay on the phone with me until I make
Mm,
it to my destination. And my sister
mm.
stayed on the phone with me until I made it to my destination. You need support. You need someone.
Wow.
And I get this whole self thing. I'm by myself. No, watch your words. You need somebody. You need someone to come and lift you up and to push you. And this is why I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I love the Lord, and I keep going back to reverting to scripture. But we need someone that's going to lift up our arms in our time of weakness. We need it. When I was standing at the hospital bed, my auntie was like, "Okay, so what do you want us to do?" When I was sitting in the hallway, everybody, "What do you want us to do? What do you need anything?" It was everything that we had each other, and we still have each other. You need somebody, and that's why Sister Act says, if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. You are not alone. Hezekiah Walker says, "I need you and you need me. We all are part of this body. Stand with me and agree with me. You are important to me, and I need you to survive." Because at the end of the day, I know that's a part of healing. I know that's a part of wellness promotion. And that's something that we need, wellness promotion. We need somebody, whether it's a brother, sister, cousin, whether it's a friend, you need somebody. And so I encourage you all to call a friend. You got many things to do, but at this moment, I encourage you to call a friend. There was a family, was it Family Feud? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You got three options: ask the audience, call a friend, or get the answer, and that was it. But this is the moment where you need to call a friend. Use your resource and call a friend.
Man, Don, just thank you so much for this uplifting conversation. I didn't know your grandmother personally, but you know what? Just the love I seen displayed all over Facebook from her friends that she went to school with, just the love. So I can tell she was an awesome, awesome individual. And I thank you for sharing her life, some of those important nuggets that she instilled in you. I thank you for giving not only the audience, but even me. And I typically go and get my mammogram on my birthday because that's my birthday gift to myself. Yes, I want to know. I want to know. So even still, it's just important for other people to know your numbers is important and to go out and get those mammograms. So I thank you for that, Don. I know it wasn't easy, but you know what? I appreciate it. I really, truly do. Thank you so very much. And I look forward to seeing you at the walk on October 8th. And we're going to see, 1 mile, 20 minutes. It should take about 15. It should take you about 15. So we just want to, just shed some light on it, just, put some smiles on some people's faces, because some people will come out that don't normally get a chance to come out, and you'll get people DMing you in your box, asking you certain questions, because I still get it where people are asking me. I said, just come out, even if you can't walk, just to see the support for those that's walking in your stead to come out. So thank you, Mr. Don Mayberry. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you on the 8th with your family and friends. And I can't wait for you to open us up in prayer for the walk. And it's only less than 2 weeks away. But it's all about healing. It's all about love. It's all about choices. We have to make a choice to go to the doctor. Choice that we make. Nobody can make it for us. It's up to us. So thank you so very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And I'll see you on 8th. Okay? All right. Thank you so much, Don.
On the 8th.
Good night. Bye-bye. So again, the breast cancer walk will be October 8th from 9 to 10. Meet us downtown at the old courthouse at 9 o'clock sharp. So it's going to take 20 minutes to do this walk. All right. All right. You all have a good night, and we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.